It's Jay. Can you guys hear me? All right. Okay, good job. I can see you guys today, so that's good. The other day, for some reason, I couldn't see anybody, but today I can see people, so I feel good. But all right, so today is Wednesday. They have Employee Appreciation Day going over on the fields, and so I'm kind of dressed in jeans. You don't see me very often in jeans, but I had to prepare for our lessons, so I haven't made it over there yet, but there's a celebration and employee appreciation, so that's good. You know, our people need to be celebrated and you know, for all the little things we do, the workers need to be appreciated. So all right. Okay, so what I've got some things that we're going to go over. It should not, I don't think it's going to cover a whole hour, but in between, you know, the teaching, I know that we need a break sometimes. So I like to share with you the inspiring words about language. And let me go over and kind of preface this to why is the Mvskoke language, or why are our indigenous languages important? And for those of you who are different tribes, all of our indigenous language and knowledge is important. And I've come across this being older, you know, over 50, and still going to college. I had some of my own relatives say, "Why are you still doing this? Why are you going to school? You're 50 plus." And I'm like, I love learning about our culture and our language and culture are one. And for those of you who don't understand that, you can't have one without the other, because it just doesn't have the whole, I always talk about the ingredient stew. It doesn't have the robustness of a 5-star restaurant chef stew. You kind of, you know, without everything, you would have like canned soup. You know, it's there, it's edible, but it's not fulfilling, and you don't get the love or the entire thing of our language and culture without one, without the other. So I was walking around in the halls this morning, and I seen our one of our he's the archaeologist. So we were talking about beads, Amy. We're talking about beads. I'm still trying to find a good story or something for word of the day. And I said, "Do you have anything about beads or anything like that I can incorporate for word of the day?" And he said, "Well, we were talking about clay beads, and then we were talking about shells, because since we lived over there by Georgia and Alabama and around that area, we had shell beads, and they were able to find the shells all the way up to, you know, the north. They also found shells in okay, short emails. Okay. All right, so oops, I just dropped that. But we were able to talk about how even in Alaska, you know, they had some of the shells that were here in the eastern coast all the way up there. So there was trade routes everywhere. And it's kind of funny how Native history is not in one place. You can't find, okay, this is the Mvskoke Creek, this is the Seminoles, this is this, you know. It's not all in one place, because things have gotten changed as far as history to one view. And that's not the native view for the most part. When I was going to college, I had to learn what was out there, and a lot of it was written by non-natives. You have missionaries who wrote. You also had the army memos to go through. And this is all from a non-native perspective. So you gotta sit there and you know, weed through everything. But the archaeologist was able to tell me about the shell beads, and we were talking about copper, how copper mines were over there, like the north part around Michigan and Minnesota. So there was probably trade routes for copper beads and copper in general, because they were showing the things that they had. And you can Google it, copper artifacts from, I think, Georgia or Alabama, and you can see the creek and the Mvskoke, was it the woodpecker? I heard means war. So, you know, it was a warring symbol. And I didn't know that until today. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. Because you see the woodpecker on a lot of creek and Seminole things. And so that was interesting. And if you look at some of the jewelry, looks like it has a cross on there. And what I was, you know, a lot of modern people think, oh, Christianity, religion. It was either the four directions, so it had like a cross, or another one was the sun, a symbol for the sun. So I thought that was cool. One of the people I was talking to this morning said that he was in a museum and it had that symbol. And it was a Creek symbol. And they were like, oh, they were Christians. And this actually artifact was around 1100s, 1200 BC. So that was even before contact. So, you know, that reinforces the idea that, you know, it's not the symbol that a lot of modern people think about today. So that opened my mind, and we were standing there talking. I love walking around this building and talking to people. Everybody has a little part of the puzzle to what we're trying to learn and understand about the culture and the language. And so we just had a good conversation. But I wanted to have you guys hear these inspiring words. I know I played it before in one of our other classes, but it inspires me, and I wanted you to hear it in our language and have it inspire you and hear the language and know what it's saying. So let me go ahead and play this. Hopefully everything goes good. Wow, okay, never mind. I don't know why it's blocked. It's not blocked on my computer. I'll try it again. And I know we played Facebook before, but sometimes things just don't go the way you want to. Anyway, it was Mvhayv, and she was talking how language is our culture, and how we need to embrace our language, embrace our culture, and speak every day. Think about Mvskoke in your daily life, even if it's just a little bit, the sounds, you know, a couple of words, sentences. Just try to immerse yourself, because I know it's hard. For me that lives in Oklahoma City and I'm not around speakers very often until I got this job, it's hard to speak Mvskoke and think Mvskoke, but you have to constantly keep yourself in that mindset. Just like anything, it can be done, it's just hard. And we're trying to fill that gap with all of these classes that we have. And there's talk about possibly getting some groups together where we can just sit there and speak. And one of the ideas was coming, and this is for Oklahoma, sorry guys, but maybe, you know, in your area at a later time, they can have like the at-large citizens in different states to get together and speak, or something like that. We were talking about getting together and doing ribbon skirts, sitting there only trying to speak Mvskoke, trying to learn at the same time, you know, because everything that we learn, we want to try to put into practice. And that was one way we had come together about doing that. And Nikki, I see you over there. She's one of my students that comes in person to Oklahoma City. So these are things that we were talking about for Oklahoma City, to get more participation in the language, also incorporating more of our culture with our lessons. All right. Sounds fun, yeah. And even in your area, if you don't live in Oklahoma, you know, there's nothing stopping you guys from getting a little group together in your area. You know, you can find out how many Mvskoke speakers are in your area and just get a group together. If you guys get a group together, yeah, if you guys get a group together, you can have watch parties, you know. You sit here and watch some of our classes that are being presented, have popcorn, you know, or, you know, after you watch it, you go have a meal and sit there and try to incorporate the lessons that you learn. These are little things that we were able to do in French. That's why I talk about this stuff, because you can do it, but you got to find the like people that are speaking the same language. All right. And if anybody in your area, wherever you're at, if you guys happen to get a group together, just let us know so we can post it, and maybe other people that are in your area can also join, and maybe we can start growing our language that way. But we're open to a lot of suggestions and a lot of things that are out there. It's just there's only a few of us here, and if you take a little part of our language and our culture and try to, like I said, do a speaking group, or or a language, a language group, awesome. I give you much J. All right. So does anybody have any questions before we start? Does anybody have any ideas? Okay, yeah. Nikki's in OKC. And one of the things, Nikki, that we were talking about after one of the classes was maybe we could do a fry bread, cooking thing. And while we're sitting there trying to speak Mvskoke, if you only know colors, then just submit the colors. Hey, the fry bread looks like Oklani, or, hey, I've got a Johnny plate, So, Johnny was a Halakna Jodi, red plate. And that's how we get to using our vocabulary. There's people who have different vocabulary than I do, and when they're speaking, I'm kind of understanding, but then when I speak other things, they don't understand because they don't have that vocabulary. So that's why, like I said, word of the day, I'm trying to, Dad's best fry bread maker. Oh yeah. Hey, the more the merrier. Have us all come in and cook. We can do ribbon skirts, we can bead. But these are just ideas, not only left in the language is not only left in our hands, but left in yours as well. So you guys are the seeds for whatever we're trying to do. Even if it's just a small seed, speaking, let's go out to eat and let's speak nothing but Mvskoke, or we'll, try and we'll learn. And then, Mvhayv Barnett, Mvhayv Eli, or Mvhayv Desiray, if we don't have any, if we come up across a question, we can ask them. So these are just ideas that, we can help, and then you can help as well. All right, so did anybody take up the challenge and try to conjugate for I am not doing anything? All right, okay, Amy, you can say it, or you can type it. Just unmute and just let us see what you got.
I didn't take the best notes. Okay. So I know I was struggling with the you are not ones. And trying to sometimes I just really overthink Mvhayv. I know that's a shock, but about when to put oh shoot, didn't write all that question out. But the choice between the two roots. Yes.
The goal, you did ask that question, goal or ego. So yes. The way you determine which one goes where is if there is a vowel, you don't add another vowel. You don't add two vowels together. So if it's a V, an A, or any of our vowels, if it's a vowel, you add go. If it's a consonant, you add ego.
Okay, so that's just solid. That if it's a consonant, you always add ego. Like that doesn't change. Okay, that's what I was overthinking. Okay, so that's what I needed. So I didn't do those, but I think I emailed you a copy of these. So I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, so while Amy's doing that, I just want to let you know that this morning I created a template. Oh no, don't tell me. Last two. All right. Oh, there. Ooh. Sometimes this board is kind of cranky. So I created a template to make it a little easier for you guys to use your infinitive verbs. And like I said, these are present tense steps. Present tense negation, first person. This could also, first person. And the reason why this can only be used for first person is because of that area right there. because we're talking about I am doing something. If this helps you guys to understand the steps and to get from, you know, the infinitive to I am doing something, then I can make this for second person and third person as well. Like I said, we try to break everything down to where it's easier for you guys to understand. And when we're not around, this should be on YouTube, and you can always refer back to it. But I know to, you know, these are the notes that I took in college, but I went a step further and created a fill in the blank. So if you want to, you can print it out, something a little bit more, yes, please, okay. Acapana chorus. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that looks good, Amy. Acapana chorus. Opana chorus. And like I said, in that, sometimes people use, instead of acapana chorus, it's acapana chorus. Like I said, that's another way. I know Mvhayv Barnett has said that there's differences in different regions, different dialects. Sometimes the T is with the TOS, acapana chorus. But this is, yes, that's the way I learned it, Amy. And if that makes sense for you to do it that way, do it that way. If it makes sense for you to say, you know, according to the steps that I have, that is how it's supposed to look. But if for some reason, any of you guys who are following, that doesn't make sense and you prefer it the other way, then write it the way you understand. Okay, Robert Davis says, I'm having trouble with knowing what a verb, noun, pronoun, etc. in English. Been out of school for too long. I understand. You know, like I said, I didn't start my language journey until in my late 40s. And I was like, okay, verb, you know, and I had to rethink about that. And in my notes from Monday's class, I think I do have on there verb, what a verb is, what a noun is, and you just kind of have to get reintegrated into thinking about English. It's kind of funny. You got to think about English structure to think about Mvskoke. So that's in the notes for, I think, Monday's class. I can revisit and I can go over it as well. But let me just go over this real fast. Amy, Mache. Good job. Anybody else have anything to share on, did anybody conjugate? If you didn't, then you know, you've got this blank template to look at. You know, you put your infinitive verb here, and then whatever it means, like humbada, and then you have to eat. Oh, okay, that should be blank right there. So just scratch that out. Or I can change, I'll change it later, but right now, if you print it out, scratch it out because it's to whatever you're doing. Like humbada would be to eat. All right, and this goes down our present tense negation steps. And I'm trying to, like I said, make it as easy as possible. So say you have humbada, you drop the ETV, then it's HOMP, home. That's your verb stem. No L grading in the present tense negation. Right here, you add your person marker. So home, because you're talking about I. Okay, and then you would be home, go, because the U right here, you don't want to put an E after that because it would create a diphthong. So that's why you chose go. And or it could be if you need, you know, if you're doing this and you need to add equal, you just add an E in there. Okay, so but home pa go. You add your subject marker T, D, and then you os. There's your S. So these are step by step. Once you guys start conjugating, it'll come easier. And once you write it a few times, your mind, your hand, and your mouth will start getting connected to Mvskoke. And it'll start coming like this. You know, you know, even like when you're doing English, like I am doing something, you are doing something, it comes automatically. and then like men or boy, and then boys, you just automatically add S. These are things that we do, not conscious, but because we've learned English. These will come unconsciously and you're going to know these things. But like I said, I try to break it down to where you know where each part of the words means. Your verb stem would be home. You got your person marker, you got your negation, go or ego. You add your subject marker, D. And let's see, come on. All right, can you guys see? Okay, you guys can see the rest of it. Let me pull this down. On my screen, for some reason, I can't see it. All right, and then you have, see your auxiliary verb. Am, are, is os. So it would be Mvskoke. I don't have it written down. Mvskoke. I am not eating. So this is how you would plug it in for this template. And I think that'll help you guys out to do your own practicing, because like I said, when you practice, it'll get your mind, your hand, and your mouth going. Just say these words while you're doing it. And that'll help you to remember how to say these words. All right. So let's go. And these are the words that we have for module 1. It's on the Google Drive. So these are things that we had already gone over, and I did put the Google Drive on there. I can put it again. So you guys can refer back to the module 1 that we have, or go over anything that you don't understand. Okay, that should be the Google Drive. And that link right there should allow you to go to module 1 and then module 2. So you can go back and forth whenever you need to. All right, so iskada, to drink. So you drop the ETV, get your verb stem. And this is the same thing that we just went over, but this is with iskada. No L grading. You add your person marker right here. And then you add your negation right here. The reason why we did go is because there's the in front of it. And that would create a diphthong if you had 2 vowels. So that's how you know whether it's go or ego. If the V was not there and it was just the K, then you would put E-K-O, ego. But since there's a V, you go with go. All right, add your person marker, which is the T, or subject marker, which is the T, and then you add your OS, the auxiliary verb. So verb stem, person marker, negation, go or ego, subject marker, and let's see, put it up there. All right. And then your auxiliary verb right here. And then it says iska, let's see. Iskada, iskakoros. Iskakoros. I am not drinking. So you went from iskada to drink to I am not drinking. And you see the breakdown of the entire thing is your verb stem, your person marker, your negation, I am not, subject marker, and drinking. I am not drinking. All right, does anybody have any question on that one? Some reason this is going back and down. Okay, there we go. So for what the question a few minutes ago, let me see if I can go back to module 2. Okay, this week. What's this week? Those are vocabulary words. I know I had it broken down, maybe I just wanted to go over the verbs. The verb, the rules where it shows. I'm not sure where it's at. It shows sentence structure. Here it is. All right, so I know we had a question earlier about sentence structure. The word order in the Mvskoke sentences may vary. Subject, noun, a person or thing being discussed, described, or dealt with, person, place, or thing. And like I said, when I was going to college and I had how many years of English, I had to revisit what a subject noun was, what an object is, what a verb is, adjective and adverb. Yes, this is in the folders. This should be for module 2. I think I am in the second week. So I think the second week is where this is at. But yes, I had to go over and revisit everything. The object receives the action of the verb. The verb, the action that is being performed by the subject. The verb explains what the subject is doing. Adjective, a word that describes the noun. Adverb usually answers the question how, where, when. Basic Mvskoke sentence structure is subject, object, verb. And this is one of the things that I've been talking to the Mvhayvs about. Like I said, every time I present anything to you, I try to make sure that I am on the right path of teaching. So on some Mvskoke sentences, a T will be added to the subject of the sentence. In some Mvskoke sentences, an N will be added to the object. So if you see some of the literature out there, some books and some of the things that are written, you will see some of them ending with a T, some of them ending with an N. And this is the example that I was taught is Ivat Posen Asages. Ivat Posen Asages, the dog. And what I was told is the T in the red right here means the dog. The N right here means the cat. That's why that is added. The dog chases the cat. And remember, right here, subject, object, verb. Verb is always at the end in Mvskoke. Ivat Posen Asages. The dog chases the cat. All right. Add adjectives and adverbs to build extended sentences like the red strawberry, Kibala Jati. Let's see the big. I'm trying to think. I think it's Ido Taco, the big tree. Because I know taco is big, but sometimes I get caught up because, and that's one of the things that is not definite in Mvskoke. Sometimes you know that taco means big, like they say big water or big something. Sometimes they change the word for 1 or 2, 3 or more, or sometimes it just changes. So, like I said, sometimes I'll get things wrong. That's fine because we're all still learning. Even Mvhayv Barnett says she gets things wrong and she has to backtrack. So if you get something wrong, it's not a big deal. You just know that next time when you find out, the answer to your question or how it's supposed to be presented, next time you'll know. But that's one last thing that you're going to get wrong, because usually when you get it wrong in front of a group of people, you remember that's not how it's supposed to go. Kind of enforces, I guess, on your learning. So right here, also the subject verb, Kibala Humbes, strawberry I am eating. So you can put Kibala Jati Humbes, the red strawberry I am eating. So you're just adding on to these simple sentences that we're learning. And so I just wanted to go over that because we did have a question earlier. I think it was Mr. Davis. I was talking about how he didn't remember some of the things, Robert Davis, about the verbs, the nouns, the pronouns. Yes, I understand. And I've had to go back and revisit and immerse myself into English to learn Mvskoke. Right? And that's not a problem. It's out there. Let's see, I'm trying to see what drive it's, where exactly is it. But it is in module 2. I did put it in module 2. Trying to see which. Class 1, it's on 8 May, I think. Class 1, 8 May. Yeah, for module 2, week 2, class 1. That's where that one's at. All right, does anybody have any questions before we go further? Like I said, when I present, I try to do it simple because, if you do too much, I know for me, I become overwhelmed and I don't want to overwhelm anybody. I don't want anybody to get lost or get upset and just say, I give up. Because it's, my husband will attest to this. Sometimes I come home from class and I'm like, oh my gosh, I learned so much I don't remember. And you just kind of have to have that time where you just absorb it. What do we call that? We call it, well, you have to absorb everything that was given to you and marinate. My husband likes to say, oh, go sit down and marinate on it. All right, got it. And it's going to be very helpful, Mado. All right, that was from Mr. Davis. Like I said, so all of these questions that you guys asked are probably stuff that I've asked in class. And one of the things that made me laugh is because when we were talking about animals, and we haven't learned, I don't think we've learned animals. I've taught so many different ways or different places. I don't remember if we learned animals. No, we learned foods. We haven't learned animals as far as I remember. But I remember being in class, and think about this. You're in class with all these college students, and the instructor said, okay, what's the word for owl? And I was like, Stigini. Raised my hand, and then the instructor kind of chuckled, and I was like, was that not right? And oba, O-B, O-B-A. So O-P-V, oba. Stigini is the shapeshifter. And I had to learn that at college. So now I was like, oh, okay, so that's one of the things I never forget. All right. Because I know even in my family, I don't think they know that, because this is what we always say, oh, and no, it's oba. All right. Like I said, I try to share with you guys some of the things that had stopped me or stumped me when I was learning. And that was, like I said, that's one of the things I'll never forget. All right, so akopanera, to play, present tense negation. Like I said, when I do my notes, I try to do it in different ways. So if one way gets you to remember, that's awesome. If the other way that I present gets, sticks with you, awesome. I'm trying to do it in more than one way, so it'll catch as many people as I can. So this one, I wrote the notes with the conjugation, so you can go along with it. Akopanera, to play. You drop the ETV to get the verb stem. You add your person marker. Since we're talking about I this week, it's the V. And you see the rest of them is it's, you, and no person marker. And it goes along the same lines of present tense from module 1. The only thing that is changing is step 2. And then number 3, add the negation affix, goal or ego. 4, add the subject marker D. 5, add the auxiliary verb os, am, are, is, that's what it means. Akopanera, to play. You also see the steps here. You got to drop the ETB. All right. And then here's your verb stem. You add your person marker and then you add your negation, ko. Since it has the V, you add the ko instead of the equal. That's why you don't add it, is because it has the V. You add your subject marker T. Okay, here we go. Akopanakoros. It's a mouthful, as you can see. Akopanakoros. So the Mvskoke final word is akopanakoros. That's how I learned akopanakoros. And like I said, you can say akopanakoros, but this is the way I learned it. And then the literal English playing, I not am, and then switch it around, I am not playing. All right. I wish I knew these words when I was in school. I'm not playing. Just throw a little Mvskoke at them. All right. That would have been cool, because then I can sit there and be a little rebellious in a different language and they wouldn't know what I was saying. Not that I did that. Yeah, somebody else would have, Nikki would have done the same thing. All right. Okay, present tense for first person for nochida, to sleep. Like I said, repetition is going to keep these things in your mind and keep the steps in your mind. And whenever this module is over, you'll have all the notes. So you know right now for module 1, you knew the first person present tense for first, second, and third person. Now you're learning present tense for first, second, and third person, present tense negation, should I say. So each module, we're going over one concept for the whole thing. Like I said, I know that it's easy for people to get confused. That's why I break it down into little chunks, just little bite-sized pieces. So you're like, okay, I can get this. I can get this. I don't want to overwhelm anybody because I don't want anybody to be discouraged. All right. So you drop the ETV, you get the verb stem, you add the person marker, since we're talking about I, add your negation, go or ego, you add your subject marker, ti, you add your auxiliary verb, os. So nojira, to sleep. Here are your steps. Drop the ETV, get your verb stem. You add your person marker, you add your negation, you add your subject marker, and you add your auxiliary verb, os. So you went from nojira, to sleep, nojokoros, nojokotos, nojokotos. Sleeping, I am not sleeping. All right. I wish I knew all the stuff that I know now back then, because that would have been my little you hear other people when they their first language is a different language, whether it's Spanish or French. They'll be talking under their voice and they'll talk to the neighbor and they'll just kind of chuckle. I wish I knew this and knew some people who spoke Mvskoke. We'd be sitting there chuckling in class. And then teacher asked, well, what are you saying? And we speak Mvskoke, and they're like, okay, get back to work. All right. All right, present tense negation for first person. Here are your rules. And since we've already gone over these, I will not go one by one, but I will show you humbada. Like I said, I like to use this one as an example because everybody eats. Everybody's familiar with humbada or Mvskoke. I'm sure a lot of people remember that one. Actually, I said that this weekend. I said Mvskoke, and my son, who was in the back room, he peeked his head out, and we started laughing because just right after I said that, he peeked his head out. But yeah, Mother's Day was fine. Mother's Day was good, so we had a good time. As long as our families are together, I always have a good time. One of the things that our Native people were communal, so it's like all family. And since people had to move away for their work and everything, you don't get to see family very often. I know sometimes our family has a family reunion. Oh my gosh. It is so funny to get together with a lot of your Native family and just there and, even though you're not speaking Mvskoke, it's a big community time to get together and talk about things. And I just love talking to my family. Some families don't like each other, but I love my family. We like going out and chillaxing together. All right, humbada, drop the ETV, get your verb stem. You add your person marker. You add negation, goal. Right here, this is goal, but like I said, if it was just the P, you would add the EKO, EKO. But right here, since it's got the V, you add the goal. Add your subject marker T. You add your auxiliary verb os. So you went from humbada, humbakodos, humbakotos, humbakotos. And then literal English is eating, I am not eating. All right, yakabada, to walk. You go through your steps, drop the ETV, add your person marker V, add the negation, go, ego, add your subject marker T, add your auxiliary verb, yakabada, to walk. Here are your steps. Drop your ETV, your verb stem, add your person marker, add your negation, add the D, then add your os, Mvskoke, Yakabada, to walk, Yakabakoros, Yakabakot os, or Yakabakotos, depending on how you're used to hearing it. Yakabakotos. All right, and so the literal English is walking, I am not walking. All right, is that becoming easier? Going over these every day, step by step, is that easier to show you? To learn how to get from to sleep, to drink, to walk. I think we've already gone over this. This one, I was having a little fun, so I put all of the colors in there. So playing, akapanada, to akapanakot os. I am not playing. All right. And what I challenge you guys to do is to sit there and to try these. Now that you have the template, try the infinitive verbs from module 1 and module 2. Get into the habit of transforming it from the infinitive to I am not doing something. So you can get that not only in your mind, but in your hand movements, your muscle memory. And once you start getting all of this, to me, it's easier to understand what they're saying. And you're like, oh, okay, they're talking about I, or it's, they're talking about you, or, if there's nothing there, oh, okay, that's a third person, he, she, it, or they. So doing all of these steps, I know it seems like a chore, but this is how we learn. This is how a lot of people learn. I'm gonna say everybody learns like this, but going by step, doing this on paper, reinforcing these things, these steps in your mind will help you to understand the Mvskoke conjugation easier. And like I said, this is how I learned. I know some of the other Mvhayvs that are teaching have learned a different way. I'm not saying any way is wrong. If you can sit there and have a conversation in Mvskoke, I'm excited. We all have different ways of learning. We have different regional dialects, but if we can sit there and have a conversation and understand each other, that's the goal, to get us to be conversational. I'm not quite there yet. My mouth is still not where I want it to be, but I can write these. I can write them, I can write sentences, I can know what I'm writing, but speaking for me is like the last step. And I am trying, I do practice with the words of the day and everything. And I encourage you, whatever is the hard part in your learning, whether it's the writing, the reading, or the speaking, concentrate on that. And the more you concentrate, the more you practice on the part that you're not proficient at, or you're not so good at, then you'll get better. So look at it as a challenge. Well, shoot, I know how to say it, and I know how to read it, but I don't know how to write it. Challenge, that's a challenge. Get out there and write it. Get out there and try. And like I said, if you call up at the front desk, somebody will help you if you need help. If you you have a question, call me or email me, and we'll figure out the answer together. I'm still learning, and sometimes you heard Mvhayv Barnett, she's still learning as well. So we all kind of sit there and bounce things off of each other. And it's the meeting of the minds, as you might say. All right, nojira, to sleep. So you drop the ETV, you create the verb stem right here. There's no L grading in present tense negation. You add your person marker up. You add go for the negation. You add your subject marker, D. There's your auxiliary verb, os. Add auxiliary verb, am, are, is. So in your word, you've got noj, which is verb stem, the person marker, go, which is your negation, subject marker, and your auxiliary verb. So on that whole thing, you know what each part of it means. Nojakot os, nojakot os. I am not sleeping. All right. Does anybody have any questions? And like I said, if you are able to conjugate anything and just make a sentence, share it at our next class. Just write it in the chat, or you can speak it. Like I said, I challenge you guys to try this. Use that empty template that I had put on there. So, go through these infinitives. Also go through the infinitives for module 1. That just expands your vocabulary, your knowledge on how to conjugate these. Present tense, module 1, module 2, present tense negation. So 2 things right now, present tense and present tense negation, how to conjugate. What each step means, or each step, and what each letter means. And like I said, this is the way that caught my eye, because now I can look at something and know, oh, this V means I am doing something. Or coal or equal means not. I am not doing something. Then, you get to know what these things are. A lot of times when on my language journey, I was trying to understand things more in the way that I'm showing you guys now in the step version, instead of just remembering or memorizing. That's it, memorizing. And to me, I couldn't memorize because there's so many things to memorize, but I'm trying to break it down to show you guys how to navigate on conjugation. Next week, I will add from module 1 and module 2, I put the words together for simple sentences. I also challenge you guys to do that. And that gets your mind thinking about Mvskoke, and it gets everything put into step. So once you start knowing that the sentence structure, the word order, you can speak it. And I might talk like a toddler now, but you have to start somewhere. At least I know some things to where I'm not at the very beginning. And I tell people I talk like a toddler. I'm getting a little bit further. So my training wheels are eventually going to come off. It's not quite there yet. But like I said, as long as you're going forward in your language journey, there's no issues there. This is something how many people in the world do not know. And you are learning it. You're learning it for free. So another thing that I wanted to bring up is our website is being created. We are touching it up, and whenever it's complete, I will share the site with you. It's going to have our Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTubes. I didn't realize we had 2, but we have a YouTube for our Mvskoke speakers. They have stories from our Mvskoke speakers. On one of the YouTube, on another YouTube, they have these lessons. Our Zoom lessons are on there from Mvhayv Barnett, Mvhayv Eli, and myself. I think there's also some archived from Mvhayv Gracine, Mvhayv Stephen, Mvhayv Mvskoke, and Mvhayv Carolyn. And Mvhayv Barnett. So these are going to be out there in one part of the internet, so you won't have to go searching for it. It's exciting what we're able to do. Remember that for those of you who are Creek Nation citizens, this is a voting year. If you like, what you see, just make sure that the candidate you vote for is with what you need, what your family needs. And also, I would say, get out and vote. Whoever you vote for, get out and vote. Use your right and your privilege to vote, because a lot of people, in past years were not able to vote. All right, anybody have any questions? These are all there on the Google Drive, so you guys can see it. And I put the Google Drive already out there. If anybody needs it, I can share it again. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or anything they want to add before we take off for the day?
Just much to my Ogi. All of you are just amazing people. I know it's Teacher Appreciation Week, and if I was out there, I'd cook for you or something. But each and every one of you, it's like this fantastic choir of people. All of your voices matter to get the language and the heart of the language out there. So thank you for every single thing you do. And thank you too for whoever allows it to be free,
Mhm.
whatever created that environment. I really appreciate that a lot. But most of all, the hearts, the passion, and the time that you all spend in doing this, even when you're busy and not going to the party today or whatever is going on. So thank you.
Yes, all right, Minga, Mado for saying those words. Our instructors love to hear that all of these hard work and meeting of the minds is actually helping. And I was talking to our cultural preservation office and the archaeologists, and we were talking about how important our language culture, which is one, it's not two different things, how important it is for our people and how we have to get back to the Mvskoke way of thinking. And we had a huge conversation about that. And it's funny how modern society is trying to get back to being simple, the simple ways, which if you look at around before contact with the Europeans, we already had that. And one of the people I was talking to said, we already were in our Garden of Eden. That's what he said. We were already in our Garden of Eden. And they were saying, oh, we're not living up to the potential of the resources. And now they're trying to get back to where we were. So we were ahead of our time. So I get excited about talking about our, Mado. Somebody appreciates it. Like I said, I try to break it down to help you guys. If you guys have another way or suggestion, just email me, let me know, call me, leave it on the answer machine, and we will try to redirect to the way that, you need to learn how it helps you better, or some of the visuals. If something else works better for you, let me know. All right. So I'm going to say, check off, please. I will see you guys next week. Practice. And I'm all for you guys sharing. Mado.
Mado.
All right.